I also realized, look, guys, this is not what I want to do. But I mean, I'm 3 years in already
Yeah.
on a bursary. What do I do? I obviously discovered property studies. I knew nothing about it at the time. I never heard of it.
Wow.
And then I obviously started researching, and then obviously that's when the interest came. So the first year I took out a student loan to fund that year. I finished the postgrad honors, and I started working at the property company that I'm currently at. And I must say I'm enjoying it. It's amazing. Lots of opportunities in the industry.
You can step out on a limb and it can work out for you. So, are there any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our students who are watching?
Yeah, so what I can advise them on is that, sometimes, you
Thank you so much for joining us. I have another amazing guest with me today, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Hi, friend.
Hi, Michelle. It's good to be here. My name is Curtis Rooibaatjie. I am a fit-outs project manager at a property development company. We focus on mixed-use properties
Okay.
here in Cape Town.
Okay, that's awesome. Can you tell me a bit about what a day in the life of Curtis looks like?
So, being a project manager in the construction industry, especially at like a mixed-use development company, is a couple of variations. But I'll just take you through like what an average day would look like.
Yeah.
So, I'd arrive at the office, check a couple like what meetings are lined up for that day. Normally, it would consist of a combination between on-site meetings as well as office-bound meetings. So those meetings would normally be with consultants, fire engineers, architects, as well as building contractors. And then also the more office-bound ones would be internally, with stakeholders of the company. Because obviously we also have a mandate of what we want to carry out on the field, projects that we want to execute.
Yeah.
So I'll run through all those meetings, have a look at what's lined up. Normally there's a couple, like 3 or 4 per day. And then we would basically discuss like how far we are with each project. Some are in planning phase, and then some are obviously in execution phase. So that's actually building on site.
So that's basically your day to day, just managing and checking in on process and things like that.
Correct. Yeah. So again, if it's the planning phases, we're obviously getting the design sorted. We're getting all the compliance items also sorted, so that come execution stage, when we start breaking ground on site, there's no hiccups. We can start. It's seamless. And then once you're on site, normally I do site walks every day, because normally if you skip a couple of site walks, things can start going wrong very quickly, and then you are unaware of it. So every day I make it a mission to go to site, check up on all the sites, make sure that everyone's doing what they said they would do, and that we also like stay within the allocated timeline. Because obviously there's always project timelines for each project, and sometimes, actually most times, let's be honest, construction always runs over time,
Longer.
as well as sometimes over budget as well.
No.
It's kind of like a normal thing, but obviously I'm there to just make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. Yeah.
And have there been cases where like things were too far over budget or too far over time? And then how do you handle situations like that?
Yeah, so there have been, luckily not too many. I can think of about twice that I've experienced thus far. And normally, in both instances, it was actually like out of the control of our company as well as the guys on site. It was basically a hold up from the city.
Okay.
Because normally when you submit building plans for approval, you need to work through the city as well. And
Yes.
sometimes they can delay the process because, the city also has its own issues. They delayed because of changing over to a new management system, approval system that they're busy
Absolutely.
with, as well as understaffed. Because sometimes you get like, it's seasonal, basically. You'll get a lot of plans, let's say mid-year, and then obviously that puts a lot of strain in the system for people to check all those plans, make sure things work. And then before you know it, you're running, you almost done on site with the building project, but your plan is still being reviewed at council. But you can't open the shop or the office block without the approval from the city. So, in both cases, unfortunately, that was the case. But we managed to,
Overcome.
at minute 99, get the city to kind of speed things along, and it actually worked. We weren't too delayed.
That's good. That was very informative. I think it's good to have an idea, at least for someone who's looking to pursue the career, what it looks like, having to deal with certain discrepancies in the workplace. So, in regards to institution, which institution did you study at, and do you know of any other institutions that specifically offer the course that you did?
Yeah, so I studied property studies. That was the undergrad degree, and then I also did an honors degree in property studies.
Okay.
So I studied at UCT. I know that the degree is also offered at WITS in Gauteng. Those are the only two that I'm aware of that you can study a degree in property studies. You do get courses at the CPUT and some other technicons. And short courses as well. So the regulatory body of our industry is SAPOA, South Africa Property Owners Association.
Okay.
So they also offer short courses, down the range of construction technology, property management, facilities management, as well as property investment as well. So, if anyone's keen, they can also jump onto their website and have a look.
Yeah, that actually lead right into my next question. So there are short courses that they can do. And then specifically with your application process, how did that go? Were there certain keywords to look for? Because I know certain courses have certain electives. This is what you choose for whatever. For example, if you're doing law, if you want to specialize in whatever law, you'd have to choose that specific elective. Was that the same for you, or is it just one specific course? This is what it's called. That's what you click when you apply.
Yeah, so as you're applying to varsity to do the degree, you basically the only emphasis is on mathematics. I know that you need like a minimum of about a 6, symbol 6, which is at 70% and up for that subject.
Yeah.
And then you can apply. Obviously, you also need to pass with a bachelor's pass. So you can actually apply to a university. And then, obviously also be proficient in your languages, English, Afrikaans, or any other language that you've studied, basically.
Okay, that's awesome. And then, as I said earlier, with regards to the application process, was it straightforward, or were there specific electives that kids had to choose while doing the application, for example, at the university?
Yeah. So once you now have applied, your matric, you've applied, you got accepted, and you enrolled in first year. How the course was set up at the time, it might have changed, but I think not too much. You were allowed to take at least 2 electives per year.
Okay.
So the undergrad is 3 years. So that means you can effectively take 6 elective courses. So they weren't very prescriptive, as long as it met like 16 credits. So how most people would do it is per semester, you take an elective course just to help manage the load. And then, it could vary, whatever your interest is, you could take an elective in it. And the reason why they did it that way was because they wanted you to have a variety of exposure. Whether you wanted to pursue philosophy, extra law subjects, science, or engineering, it was all up to you, because obviously the core subjects is part of the undergrad program. But again, human nature is you'll take electives that are more aligned to what you're trying to study here. So you'll find most guys are will take a couple of law courses, to help with that, contracts. They'll take maybe a couple of finance courses, accounting, because that was also within the degree program. So those are where most of the electives at.
That's amazing. So, which means they don't have to be like this one track minded. There's different avenues that they can branch off to.
Correct.
And explore with regards to choosing electives. That's amazing. With regards to funding opportunities, do you know of any? And also, when you studied, were your parents paying for your studies, or were you funded by bursary?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually started when I went to varsity. I studied engineering first.
Wow.
Yeah, so I studied engineering for 3 years. And then within the department, at the time, I discovered property studies.
Okay.
And that's when I then decided, okay, I'll switch over
Sure.
to property studies. So obviously, as I entered into varsity, I had a fully paid scholarship, that was going to take care of the engineering degree. Then when I pivoted over to property studies, it was a change in degree, so I had to make alternative plans. So the first year, I took out a student loan to fund that year, and then luckily I was able to perform well in that first year, and then I got a bursary to fund the remainder of the 2 years, as well as the postgrad that I did after. And the bursary I got at the time was provided by the Western Cape government, Masakh'iSizwe bursary. So they funded all of it. And the Masakh'iSizwe bursary basically funds all students that want to study professions within the built environment. So that's engineering, it's property studies, quantity surveying, architecture, all of the careers that sit within the built environment. So it's a very good bursary as well, I must say.
Okay, Masakh'iSizwe, you say, right?
Correct.
It's awesome. Do you know if NSFAS if these courses are also funded by NSFAS?
Yes. So NSFAS will fund you. Obviously, we know the limitations to
there's
NSFAS.
certain criteria.
Correct. So your parents' income play a big role there in terms of whether you'd get it or not. But definitely, NSFAS would cover a degree like that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now to the most important part. I didn't want to interrupt you earlier. I want to know about that pivot.
Yes.
That pivot that you took between engineering and getting into property.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your personal story. How did we get there? And also what inspired you to make that change?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it wasn't planned. I think let me go back to the start. So I was at school, did well at school, got good grades. And then obviously it came time to like, okay, what are you going to study? I wasn't too sure of what that would be. And then in that matric year, I remember that I was part of like a science and math program, and they were doing job shadowing. So at the time, they placed me in the chemical engineering job shadowing group. So we went to like a mine, because I'm from Kimberley. So we went to the Beers mine. And they had some chemical engineers there, and they took us around the mine. They showed us what they're doing. But I mean, obviously it's high level. They show you the fancy stuff. And I was like, obviously unsure at the time. And I'm like, this looks interesting. I've got the grades to back it up. Let's pursue it. So I applied to all the varsities, got accepted to all of them. And then also bursary. I applied for bursaries, also got a bursary. And then, I mean, it was like the stars were aligning here, because obviously things are just working. So I said, okay, then surely this is what I need to do. I then matriculated, went to UCT, started studying. Like I said, I did 3 years of engineering. And then in the third year of engineering, we also went to like almost like a internship, real on-the-job experience for about a 2-week period. And I went to a mine, Lonman mine, in, I think it's the Northwest, Northwest. And obviously by then I studied a bit. I was older, a bit more wiser. I also realized, look, guys, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I foresee
Reality is kicking.
myself doing in the long run. But I mean, I'm 3 years in already
Yeah.
on a bursary. What do I do? So that's lingering in my mind. And I go back, I finish up the third year. And then whilst I went back, I obviously discovered property studies.
Okay.
This degree sat within our department. I knew nothing about it at the time. I never heard of it. And then I obviously started researching, reading up about it, what it entails. And then obviously that's when the interest came. I have a fascination with buildings, building like neighborhoods, how they put together, how they work, and all of the energy and stakeholders involved in getting that across the line. So this really piqued my interest at the time.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, you know what? Let's change. Let's change. Like I said, obviously I was funded for the engineering. There's no funding for this. So we had to take out a student loan to fund the start of this degree.
Yeah. Didn't that make you wanna not do it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, obviously I was a bit, thinking, am I making the right choice here or not? But I took a chance, applied, they accepted. So again, like I'm seeing things are aligning again. I'm getting accepted. I was able to transfer some of my engineering credits over to the new degree. So I was exempted from doing a couple of subjects because obviously engineering is very math, science heavy.
Yeah.
So I was credited for quite a bit of that for the undergrad.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, I obviously started getting into it. Did first year, enjoyed it, was fantastic, did well. So again, I was like, okay, this is it, And then as I was getting deeper into the degree, I realized there's actually also a broad spectrum of stuff that you can do, careers that you can do with it.
With that property studies, yeah.
Which also excited me because, again, you don't want to be boxed in, limited.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, what they study in undergrad and start working, they don't stay for too long in that industry. Most people actually pivot out of it. Sometimes, not by choice, but it just naturally happens that you do something completely different to something that you've studied. So that's why I like that it had a broad spectrum of opportunities that I could branch into.
Yeah.
And obviously I finished the undergrad, I finished the postgrad, the honors, and I started working at the property company that I'm currently at. And I must say I'm enjoying it. It's amazing. Lots of opportunities in the industry.
Wow. Yeah. And that also kind of highlights how a pivot can be essential to your growth or your future life. Even though you knew that the choice that you're going to make now, moving from engineering to property studies, was not necessarily going to benefit you from financial perspective. But because you knew that it's something you were interested in and you took the chance, look how it turned out. I mean, how long are you at this company now for?
So in February, it will be 8 years.
Wow, look at that. Look at that.
Time has actually flown quite quickly.
Quite a bit, yeah. And that's very inspiring to know that you can step out on a limb and it can work out for you. So are there any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our students who are watching?
Yeah, so what I can advise them on is that, I mean, again, like you just stressed right now, is that sometimes you think of something that you want to do whilst you're at school, and you're unsure, and apply, get into varsity, and just my advice would be to explore when you're in varsity, because that's obviously when you're exposed to way more, exposed to different friends with different experience, backgrounds, connections, networks, and also the lecturers that you encounter, ask them the questions. That's how you'll find out, like, what you truly are interested in. And, the best place is to, kind of make the pivot in varsity. Obviously, hopefully early on, I think the best would be in first year.
Rather than third.
Exactly. That's why I would just stress, that you explore first year, especially if you're unsure when you applied for the degree that you applied for and got accepted into. And I mean, that's a reality for a lot of people. Especially, let's say, if you're the first generation going to varsity, you don't have like a social capital around you to share some insights of what the varsity experience is like, what certain careers entail. You see these on TV, or you just hear about it, but you don't actually know what it's all about until you get there. So if you're unsure, explore in that first year, and hopefully you land on what piques your interest, and then pursue it.
Awesome.
That's my advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Curtis. Really, really informative session. And for our viewers out there, as you heard the man say, ask the questions, explore, don't be afraid to pivot. You don't have to become a firefighter like what you said when you were 5 years old. You can make a change, and it can actually be valuable. You can be 8 years in and still enjoying your pivot. Thank you so much for joining us on the Success in Color podcast. Bye for now. If you found this content valuable, you are more than welcome to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on TikTok as well as Instagram, where we share some more interesting content about career planning and beyond. Thank you for joining me with the Success in Color podcast. My name is Michelle, your host. Bye for now.